Hello and welcome to the Grow Your Biz Show. This is a place where we help you to navigate your niches, perfect your pitches so you can grow your own small business. Hi, I'm Paul Madsen, host of the program, and this is episode number 51. I'm very excited because I am honored to have as my guest for episode 51, Ms. Carmen Tapio. Thank you. Carmen, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Carmen is the CEO and founder of North End Teleservices,
Yes.
And you are in for a treat today because I've chatted with her before and it's going to be an awesome interview. So welcome to the program and welcome to you again. Thanks for having me into your beautiful offices here.
You are welcome. Thanks for having me today.
Great to be here. Great to be here. Let's jump right in. Let's start with your background. Are you an Omaha native?
I was military, so my dad was in the Air Force, and we moved here in 1975. I have come and gone and returned on a number of occasions. Omaha, I do consider it to be my home. It's where my heart is. It really is.
Well, I like the way you put that. Where your heart is, and people do that. Maybe they grow up here or spend some time here, and they leave, and they come back and say, "Hey, it wasn't so bad after all." I hear that a lot. So back to Omaha, you are. And where did you go to high school in town here? Or?
I grew up in Bellevue, so coming from a military family, right there near the base.
Yeah.
Grew up in Bellevue and went to Bellevue East High School.
There you go.
Yeah.
And when you graduated, what were your next plans or steps after that?
Well, I started working right away, Paul. I've worked from the time that I was very young. One of my first jobs was at the Henry Doorly Zoo, which a lot of people are familiar with, and it was a great place to learn a lot about business, but I had a lot of other jobs as well.
Mm-hmm.
I worked at Village Inn, and then I ultimately found my way into the call center career through First Data Resources.
FDR, First Data Resources.
And I went to school at UNO, went to Bellevue University.
Now you started college right away?
I did.
And worked a lot too, from what I know about you.
Yes, I did. Yes,
A workhorse, so you jumped in and went. How many hours a week did you work as a college student?
I was full-time.
I mean, you went full-time college, but full-time jobs too?
Yes, yes.
Well, there you go. You know, hard work. Remember, you've heard it before.
Yes.
Here's Carmen to show.
I would add that I never attained my degree.
Okay.
So.
And what was your major?
My major was business.
Okay.
And I began living out my career through business because I was working right away. And I found it very beneficial while I was in business to go back to school because I was able to apply what I was doing in the real world. It made sense learning about it through the business courses.
Well, I think that's fantastic because so many people maybe just go out of high school and go into a college and they'll do book learning.
Yes. Book
learning for X number of years, 4 years, whatever, and get out and say, "Oh, what's all this?" Whereas you, probably, I bet she was the one who was professors, but no, it doesn't work that way. Was that you?
Yeah, that was me. That was me because by the time that I was in college, I had a fair amount of experience.
Sure. Yeah.
And in the work world, in my work life, and so I was able to apply, as I said, and ask questions around what was being taught, specifically related to what I was experiencing firsthand.
Professors were there. Oh, I hope she's not there today. It's so idealistic in every tower without Carmen in there telling you what business really looks like.
Right.
So, it's not all professors are that way. I shouldn't give them a knock, but you've seen it and we've all heard it too. Book learning versus street smarts, and you had lots of both, it sounds like.
And I think both are important.
Yeah, well, I agree. I'm not trying to diss book learning or degrees or academia at all. I have a degree, and glad I do, because it does round out your background of things you can't personally experience. There's things I would have never known about had I not went to college also.
Right.
So. But experience is pretty important too, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
What were some of your early aha moments while you were a young working person out there? I mean, you're in there, big companies, it sounds like, and what kinds of things did you say, well, that's weird, or that's an odd way to do it? Anything like that ever along the way, or did you just go along and learn?
You know, I really took my work experience as an opportunity to learn. Sure, there were some things that were strange. So, innovation, doing new things, doing different things, and so I found myself at a very early age being in a position of doing some firsts. So,
what does that mean?
Product development.
Oh, really?
So I was involved, really unknowingly, got involved in initiative and effort very early on in my career that ultimately became the creation of a new product that was offered to the government.
Okay.
And then we took it to become a commercial product.
Is this in the teleservices industry?
It was in the teleservices industry, and it was around when I worked for First Data Resources, the 9-digit zip code. So when the 9-digit zip code was being developed, First Data Resources was a part of that, and I was on the phones and gave 9-digit zip codes to post offices around the country. So it wasn't like there was a database that they could just go to. They would call, they would give us an address, and they would handwrite the 9-digit zip code.
Before internet.
Before the machine services that would apply the 9-digit zip code, we gave them out manually, and they were handwritten onto pieces of paper.
Wow. Might even be before faxes? Or
it was
faxes out there?
Before widespread use of faxing. It was when Twixing was around, if you even remember. So there was Twixing and then faxing. And so thanks for dating me, Paul.
Well, I'm older than you, I think, so I can do that. But I remember when faxes were the new thing. It was the 80s, and at where I worked anyway, they got one. And I was in the staffing business, headhunting, recruiting, placement business, and we stood in line. I mean, people would mail their resumes to us in the mail. We'd open them and look at them and maybe retype them or something on paper. And then if we had a client who wanted to see that resume, we were talking to them on the phone. We waited in line for the fax. Go hurry up, get that fax out. My client wants to see this one.
I remember those days. I remember them well.
Things have changed a little bit since then, and we'll talk more about that. So, well, great. First, how long were you at First? Were you at First Data? Did you stay at First Data after you graduated?
I stayed at First Data for quite a while, and had the opportunity to see business from a lot of different aspects. So, being on the phones, being in operations, being a team lead, being a supervisor, getting involved in the product development. That's where I learned also about account management, project management. I had an opportunity to do some coding while I was there as well. I did.
I didn't know you had that back.
I did. And
you've seen it from full circle.
I had a lot of exposure. And so, I guess one of the first things that I would say to people is, when I look back at my career, and one of the things that I tell people still today is say yes to every opportunity that's given to you.
That's great advice.
So it wasn't necessarily about increasing in position vertically. It was about broadening my knowledge and broadening my business.
Well, that's what I wanted to ask you is you had a lot of jobs within the company.
I did.
What traits did you exhibit to your employer that made those opportunities happen for you? I ask the question in case there's younger people watching.
And it's a great question. So I think there's the willingness to raise my hand and say, I'll do the job. That's one. And two, I took the work that I did seriously, and I wanted to be the best that I could be while I was doing it. And so it wasn't necessarily about being competitive. It was more about an internal drive and desire that I had to continue learning and growing and becoming better professionally and as a person.
And where does that attitude come from?
My family, for sure. My entire family has that same sort of
be the best you can be.
Be the best that you can be. Show up.
Well, they're military, so.
Yes, there you go.
Wrong branch for the bottom.
It works. It really does. If you're going to show up, you might as well be the very best that you can be.
That's true.
And so that was something that was instilled in me at a very, very young age. And then I'll add, this to the story as well. It was an early mentor at First Data Resources that told me I was a leader.
Ah, interesting.
And I didn't necessarily see myself that way.
Yeah.
And in fact, one of the things that he told me, and I tell people this story, is that while I was on the phones as a service representative, I used to come back late from break. And he said to me one day, he said, do you realize every time that you come back late from break or lunch, you bring 5 or 6 people late with you?
Really?
He said that.
Interesting.
And I
You were an influencer at a young age.
I was an influencer at a young age. He said, you don't realize it.
Negative influence in that case.
You're a leader. And he said, if you're late one more time, I'll fire you.
Wow.
It changed my life.
Yeah, wow. Well, that's,
it changed my
candor
life.
Can really help.
It did. And so helping me to see what I didn't see necessarily in myself as a leader, and to holding me accountable for my actions, and also mentoring me. So it wasn't just being held accountable, it was the fact that through his words, that was one of the very obvious displays of mentorship that he showed me, and he remained a mentor for a long time.
That's awesome. That's
and a
awesome.
friend, yes.
Yeah, and that, who in your life will reach out and touch you? Who can you ask for help to get that third party kind of endorsement? Sure, our parents love us, right?
Right.
And say nice things to us sometimes, most of the time. But to have someone from the outside tap you on the shoulder and say, hey, Carmen, you're special.
I care about you.
Yeah.
I care about you as a person. I care about you professionally. And I want you to be successful in all facets of your life. And I've been very blessed to have had several mentors throughout my career and throughout my life that I've had that relationship with. And so having a mentor, I think, is really important.
That's awesome.
And for those of us that can, to be a mentor as well, I think is equally as important.
Well, and that's wonderful. Being mentors and so on. That's very important. I've had that worked for me as well. That's a perfect segue into where we sit right now, because I was just at a birthday party for North End Teleservices. I got to stand out on the call floor and watch them celebrate and watch the culture. I even took a souvenir and participated in the racket.
It is a lot of racket, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a good racket.
Yes,
it's a good racket. And so,
I
mentoring made me think of this, but just tell us a little bit about the culture here, the background of the company, how long you've had it and started it, and that kind of thing.
Sure. So we have been operating out of this location since 2015. So September, we're coming up on our 3-year anniversary as an organization, and North End Teleservices was founded specifically with the purpose of creating jobs and changing lives in Northeast Omaha. So where we sit at 24th and Hamilton is intentional. Everything that you see when you come into our facility is intentional as well, from the minute that you walk in the door to what you experience as you go
to birthday parties.
As you go to birthday parties,
well,
or for me.
And I just want to echo that. I walked in the door. I was greeted professionally, firm handshake, just really well. And it's true. You walk in the door and you just feel that environment, the nice office. Even the nice restroom, I mean everything right down to the bottom, that you thought of everything. And
we tried.
You keep that culture going. Tell us more about how you build that culture and how you make that happen.
So, just the surroundings being intentional, but the way that we interact with each other, the way that we interact with our employees, the way that we interact with our customers. We try to be as authentic and sincere as possible. We show up in a very unpretentious sort of way. We all show up as being just human beings with an opportunity to impact each other's lives.
I really get that feel here.
That's good.
And that's, because so often in corporate America there's the backstabbing or the posturing or the puffery and all that.
We don't have time for that.
No. That's great.
We've got too much work to do, serving our clients and serving each other, serving the community.
Beautiful.
And so our goal here is for people to come to work at North End Teleservices. Maybe they're accepting just a job, but there is an opportunity for it to become a career. Just like being in a call center and growing up through the industry, it took me all over the world.
Yeah.
And so I had an opportunity to do many, many different things that I never would have dreamt if I had been able to come up with it on my own.
Well, give us an example of, I jumped too soon from the learning on the employer's dime, not in a negative way, but just learning. What were some of the key things you learned as you traveled, as you saw all these, you worked for several major corporations.
I did.
And what did you learn along the way that helped you? Any aha moments there that said, this is what I want to do instead, or this is what I want to duplicate?
One of the biggest aha moments for me was through the international experience that I had, and also coming from a military background and traveling internationally, but the realization that wherever it is that I sit today is not the epicenter of the entire world.
Oh, it is.
We kind of believe that it is,
Yeah.
and there is so much that is offered through other cultures that can add to what it is that we're doing from wherever it is that we sit. And so the global travel opportunity was a huge one. It really helped me to not just understand that there are differences and there might be other best practices happening around the world, but it also helped me to bring those practices back to the organization and help others realize the same,
And
which created something better than if we had just
Right.
thought of ourselves as, we're sitting in Omaha, Nebraska, and we know everything.
You're right. You got to get outside of yourself.
You have to get outside yourself. You have to get outside your community. You have to get outside your culture as well.
Beautiful, beautiful. What was it? What kind of jobs were those that you were traveling with? What kind of work assignments?
Sitel at the time was in a global business acquisition and operating strategy, and so I had an opportunity to travel to different countries and help look at businesses that we were identifying for potential acquisition.
You can't buy that experience anywhere.
I couldn't have dreamt that up.
No, you could study that, get PhDs after PhDs, but until you sit there in those environments, right?
It was an amazing experience. And the other thing was we had some global clients that I was able to lead and be a part of global operating teams and supporting these global clients. And so doing business out of multiple countries, serving a single client, and trying to do it in a cohesive way so that it didn't feel like it was fragmented. So being a part of an acquisition team, serving global clients, and then ultimately, because I was able to see some of the great things that were happening throughout these businesses on a global basis, I ultimately found myself the head of global best practices.
Nice title.
It was a very nice title because that meant I got to take an even closer look at the business operations in various countries and then to highlight them and then to share them and to really create global operating standards at a very high level.
Well, you certainly rose to nearly the top, and tell me about the transition from you're doing all that and some very vaunted titles and positions and responsibilities. What made the jump from there to a social entrepreneur?
Well, I did a lot of startups in my career.
Okay.
So with Sitel and other companies,
they were startups.
I did a lot of startups of new facilities, of new divisions, that sort of thing. And then, the opportunity to run in-house call centers. I ran call centers for Carlson companies in-house. And that's really where, through that global exposure and just the understanding of people, a real passion and appreciation for people came to light for me. And I spent some time on the diversity and inclusion front at Carlson. So I left sort of operating the business day to day and created a project for diversity inclusion that ultimately turned into a full-time job for me within our hotels group and then for the enterprise. I always knew that if I had an opportunity to own my own business that I would do it. And my career took very beneficial, wonderful turns. And I decided to step back a little bit, to move away from corporate America, take some time off, and I started consulting. That consulting turned into opportunities to work with other organizations, and that's what brought me to Northeast Omaha, to North End Teleservices. The passion for people, the passion for culture, the passion for operating really came together to help me understand that anything I wanted to do would have a mission behind it as well. And so we have become, at North End Teleservices, a very mission-forward organization where we are about exceptional service delivery. We're about creating new operating standards in our industry, so doing new things and doing things sort of in an old school kind of way. Going back to that, really strong, service-oriented, service heart.
Human part. It's not the internet part.
That's right. The human interaction that you get through call centers, regardless of the channel that you're using. But the ability to go deeper and to care for our people that are delivering that exceptional service, our ability to do that means that we get greater loyalty, we get greater service delivery from them. When someone is happy and whole and well cared for, then they're able to perform better.
I may have said this before, but someone asked the CEO, they said, well, what's your main mission, what's your main passion? He says, to care for our customers. And they said, well, you haven't talked to a customer in 10 years. Your job is to take care of the people who take care of the customers, and that's what you just made me think of here.
That's exactly what we do.
Tell me back again, so that's your why, I guess, changing jobs and changing lives. Your passion for people and culture and mission was honed over all these different global experiences and leadership roles through becoming a program person and then an individual consultant, made connections with people and decided to launch your own. What was that first moment like? You said, I want to do my own thing, I know it, I'm going to involve these people. Tell us those early decisions, what that's like.
The early decisions, the decision to own and operate North End Teleservices was easy, but then it was also hard because I had my consulting business. I was quite happy and quite successful doing that as well. It had been a while since I had run a call center, and so, you know, stepping back into the day-to-day operations was a little tricky. But fortunately for me,
how long were you away?
I was away from day-to-day operations at a call center since 2004 and launched this business in 2015.
Yeah,
so my consulting business, I was a strategist for other companies.
Sure.
And also before that, as I mentioned, I was a diversity and inclusion and social responsibility executive for Carmens.
Sure.
So, but the mission, the purpose of creating jobs was more important to me than you know, getting back into the day-to-day operation.
Right, and so you wrote it, you did what you had to do.
I did what I had to do, and for me, doing a startup is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Some people call me crazy.
And you've done it before.
And I've done it before. It's why I color my hair, because startups will give you, will stress you out and give you gray hair. But for me, it's a challenge and it's something that I really enjoy. So I viewed it more from the startup perspective, and I viewed it more from the mission perspective as well.
Back to that mission, that is an example of, I mean, it's more than birthday parties here.
Yes.
I mean, give us an example. I know you have programs here that help your employees, again, change lives. And for instance, there's employee savings program. You had a young lady you're working with, and tell us that story.
Well, there are several people that I'm working with where I meet with them. I try to meet with them on a weekly basis, if not weekly, then at least every other week, to talk to them about what their goals are. We help people create a vision and goals for their lives, professionally and personally as well. And if someone, you know, is looking to, maybe they've never thought about saving money for a home. So one of the things that I started doing was, you know, I started sending up envelopes in my office for any employee that wanted to start a savings account, and North End Teleservices savings
something
account.
they can't get to so easy.
Something they can't get to. It's locked. It's hidden away. But they, you know, are able to bring money and make a commitment that they're going to do it on a regular basis. They're going to do it with a purpose. That purpose might be just having a safety net. That purpose might be saving for a home, might be saving for a car, whatever it is. But for some of our employees, it's the first time that they've ever had an opportunity to save anything.
Talk about mentorship. Your mom and dad in some ways on that, helping them to grow that way. Didn't one young lady start with a few
$4? $2 in bills and $2 in change.
$2 in change.
And she was embarrassed.
And she's much further along.
She is much further along. She has almost $2,000 saved today in a very short period of time.
That's tremendous.
And she's not alone. There are others as well. And so, you know, the mentorship, creating opportunities for tuition assistance. So we partner with Bellevue University, and they provide tuition assistance for our employees, not just our employees, but their family members as well. We started the first registered apprentice program in the state of Nebraska for call centers. For supervisors, and we've expanded to quality assurance and training as well. We also provide healthcare benefits to our employees. We cross-train all our employees, and so it is really a never-ending process. It's only limited by what we limit ourselves to be able to do to provide for the well-being of our employees.
Fantastic, because I get that. I see it in the spirit around here. Some teleservices companies are meat markets, boilerplates, and you're as far away from that as one could be. You really are changing jobs and creating jobs and changing lives. One
of the terms that's used in the industry, and a lot of us have worked in call centers, is if you can bog a mirror, you can work in a call center.
That's why they hired me way back when.
Right, and it's one, frankly, that I don't take kindly to.
Right,
because
it's the opposite here.
It is. They are the most important people. Their ability to impact our clients' customers, and also they recognize the fact that if we do well, when we do well, that they're doing well not just for themselves, they're doing well for the company, they're doing well for their families, they're doing well for the community. So there are a lot of reasons for our folks to want to be successful here.
Well, and you're building, a rising tide builds all boats. And
that's right.
Really is, what's your word, social enterprise, is that what you call it?
Social enterprise,
and
yes.
Speak to that. Do you think other entrepreneurs should consider that kind of thing?
I do. You know, if you're looking to start a business, one of the reasons why I know that we will continue to be successful is that every person here has a mission and a reason to get out of bed every morning.
Perfect.
And it's not just about showing up for work. And so when you have that mission, something that you're passionate about, that drives you, that fuels you, that brings energy and innovation and all of those other things that are going to help your business be successful, find a reason as an entrepreneur that's bigger than the success of yourself or the success of just your company.
Well, and no entrepreneurs can do everything themselves.
That's right.
You would have stayed an independent consultant forever.
Yes.
But instead you had this vision to go beyond and create jobs and save lives.
That's right.
Or not save lives.
In some cases,
changing lives.
I would say that in some cases
tell about your neighborhood. I mean, you mentioned many of your people live right around.
Most of our people are within 3 miles of our office.
That's fantastic.
And so, if we did nothing else, because of our location, we've eased the burden of transportation of people getting to work. And so we were intentional to bring the jobs to the community so that people can work where they live.
I've got a long background in staffing and human resources, and that is always
it's a challenge for any
employee. Getting to work.
That's
you have a reliable way to get to work.
That's right.
If you're where they live,
you
can do that. You can change those lives. You can make that impact.
Yes.
As we wrap up, Carmen, any parting thoughts that you have for budding entrepreneurs, someone wanting to get out there? I mean, you've given us gold nuggets all the way along. I'm wanting to start my own thing. What should I really consider other than that mission, that why, that passion for culture and so on? Any other thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things that I would say to anyone thinking about starting their own business is if the drive is within you, it's there for a reason.
I like that.
It's there for a reason.
That drive within you is there for a reason.
It's there for a reason. And so
I can't think of any better way to wrap up. Any last thought on that?
I would just say that there are certain things that are within us and that we have the drive for that no one else in the world can do. And so you have that drive, you were meant to do it. Be fearless, go for it. Be smart, of course, get mentors and other people that are going to support you. But follow that instinct for that drive, because there are certain things in the world that only us as individuals, that gift was given to us to do. So I would say go for it.
Please rewind that and listen to it again. She said it better than I ever could. So Carmen with North End Teleservices, how do they reach you?
www.northendteleservices.com or 402-934-3624 is our main phone number.
A wonderful company, wonderful people. I've learned a lot. I hope you have too. Play this back again, because there's a lot there. And we will see you next episode of the Grow Your Biz Show.